Hello, beautiful humans. It's Veronica Page, your self-healing coach, and I'm here to bring you all the tools necessary so that you can embody root cause healing. Once we do this, then we can step into what our most divine life is. And today we're going to talk about daily routines, something that you probably hear all over the place and from people who you love with so much good intention, like this is what changed my life, you have to do this so that you can feel good and all that great stuff. Let's break it down. We're going to talk about why it's important to have a daily routine, what works, what doesn't work when it comes to having routines, and how can you start literally today, tomorrow, but today, and start to experience these benefits for the long haul, right? First of all, why do we have daily routines? I constantly am referring to Ayurvedic medicine, which is a time-tested medical system that is one of the oldest medical healthcare system from India, over 5,000 years old, and we are still practicing this all over the world. It's used as the main form of medical healthcare in several countries, and it's becoming way more widespread now in the West. Why? Because we have a lot of science to back up what it's been using to help heal from the root for thousands of years, and now that we have science to back it up, people are like, okay, I'm down. But Ayurveda is about experiencing it, and that's always what I'm going to be talking about, right? I talk about embodying healing, what it looks like and feels like for you. So all of these tools, take it from me or not, try it yourself, right? This is the whole point, is I want you to experience. So why do we have daily routines? In Ayurveda, the cycle of a 24-hour day is the anchor. It's the anchor to experiencing health. It's the anchor to experiencing and achieving our goals. When we have a daily routine, then we can create confidence. We can, like I said, achieve goals. We can feel grounded throughout our day. We start to save time. We start to save money, right? We start to feel empowered. We gain more clarity. And if we're talking about circadian rhythm, right, this is that biological clock that exists in the brain and connects to every nerve, every cell in our body, and it tells us when to secrete certain hormones. It revs up our metabolism. It tells us when we can fall asleep with ease or not. It's extremely important for health and for energy and for structuring or for energy efficiency, rather. So all of this is why it's so important to have a routine and more. I speak to this in depth if you're a reader in my blog. So you can go there. You can, Control F, mornings, evenings, if you don't want to read it all. Check it out. Anyways, so this is why it's so important to have a routine. For me, I notice when I'm feeling off, if I'm feeling scattered, if I'm feeling anxious, if I'm feeling self-conscious, or have I been eating the right thing, the wrong thing? Why is my poop looking weird? I do go to my daily routine to see, okay, where have I fallen off? Where can I add or subtract something? Because this is the anchor, okay? So this is our why. In terms of what works when it comes to a daily routine, what works is, first of all, getting to bed on time. Don't just stop the video now. I know, you're probably like, I sleep at 12 and that's my jam and I feel I can't sleep earlier, right? I feel you. I get that. I've done that. Okay. I lived in New York for almost 9 years, the city that never sleeps, right? And if you want to have a full 24-hour day that you are feeling in rhythm with nature, meaning you are awake when the sun's out. You're awake at these peak hours of focus, which we'll talk about. You are getting sleepy at the hours where the sun comes down, and you can sleep throughout the night, which is essential for cell health, right? For rebuilding cells, for releasing stress. That's what dreams essentially are. And If you want to feel energized, happy, and healthy throughout the day, then we do need a good night's sleep. Again, you can go to that blog post if you want some links to some hard science around sleep. But if you don't believe me of why sleep's important, then yeah, do some research, my loves, or try it for yourself. Feel what the difference is when you have a good night's sleep. So how are we going to do this? What works when it comes to a daily routine is to prioritize going to sleep on time. That's where we start. And I know this can sound really hard. So if you tend to sleep at 1, say, okay, well, I'm going to try sleeping at 12:30 instead. Maybe next week's 12. Maybe the week before that, week after that, 11:30. So keep moving nice and gently. We're not trying to cannonball into anything. And if your hours of work do not allow for this, right, if you tend to work the night shift, it is possible to, yes, you can be healthy, and I invite you to have an intention around shifting that in the future. I'm not saying right now don't quit your job, hey, but just ask yourself, do I want to have this lifestyle forever? If it's a yes, then, more power to you. Please tell me how this goes. And so I'm very curious, right? Truly. And if you do want to have a more regulated sleep schedule that cycles with nature, with the sun, so that your circadian rhythm can align, then have that intention that, okay, I will shift my schedule. If you put that intention out, that thought out, things will start to happen to where, and this is a whole manifestation protocol, which we'll talk about in another time, but just get that in motion, right? Without needing to force, okay? And if you want more tools on this, reach out to me or write in the comments. So getting to sleep on time will look like, being asleep around 10, and then you get up around the sunrise. This is so powerful to do. And ideally, if you start to sleep on time, like around 10 or before that, you will start to wake up naturally right before the sun, and you won't need an alarm clock. I was like, this is crazy. How? And just after 3 days of the protocol that I'm going to tell you about, I was able to wake up without my alarm, and now I don't need it. And it's sick. It's so soothing to wake up when the sun's up and actually having energy. So what works? Start with having healthy sleep hygiene, which we'll talk about later, so that you can get up near to the sunrise. So what works early in the mornings is self-care, tuning into the self, tuning into soul needs, right? We live for the mind, the body, and the soul. Not one of them is more important than the other. But when we can satisfy the mind, the body, and the soul early in the morning, then we can align ourselves with our most divine, like who we want to be, our highest selves, whatever you want to call it. And it's very grounding. It's very grounding. The opposite of grounding tends to be like, oh, I'm not sure, like, what do I do? But when you can ground into the mind, body, and soul so early in the morning, you'll feel that clarity. When you get up, you will do a body assessment. Assess the self. Assess what's going on. How am I feeling mentally, physically, emotionally? Rolling around in bed, go stretching here and there. How hungry I am. How thirsty am I? Right? And this can be in the journal. This can be while you're making your bed. It can be quick. It's up to you, and it's up to how much time you feel like you have. Just tuning in to asking the body, like, how are you doing? Having that conversation so early in the morning sets the tone so that you can check in with yourself throughout the day. And this relieves a lot of stress on mealtime too. Why? Because we've already assessed. Now I know, okay, I'm not hungry at all. Maybe I'll eat more around 11:30. or I am pretty hungry. Once I do my rituals in the morning, I'll probably be hungry around 8:30. Great. And set and done. No need to think about it anymore. Then you go to the bathroom. Get into that restroom. Clean. Do not hold any bodily urges, okay? Actually, you don't even need to clean this yet. You need to go to the restroom. So urinate. If you have bowel movement, great. Do all the things. Don't you ever hold in any bodily functions, please. This is gonna, after a while, start to weaken the organs in the body. So let it out. Plus, holding in bowel movements after a while could lead to things like hemorrhoids. We're not going to go there. That's not going to happen because you're not going to hold in any urges, including those toots. Don't you hold in those toots, even in public. Please just say, I gotta excuse me because I have to go take a call. I have to go take care of something. I have to go take care of my health. Do it because you're worth it and you're a temple. Okay? So go take care of your bodily urges. Then you cleanse the mouth. Then you wash the face, right? You brush the teeth. You scrape the tongue. Why? You're going to remove all of that bacteria that's come up to the surface of the tongue for expelling, right? You don't want to swallow that back in and then get that back into the gut. Not ideal. So, I mean, for me, sometimes brushing my teeth, I'll brush my teeth with my left hand. Why? Because it helps to create some neuroplasticity, some new neural pathways in the mind because you're doing something different because my dominant hand is the right. So, sometimes I brush with my left just to get into that new mode of neuroplasticity. And learning. Sometimes I'm like, I'm active. I'm going to do some leg ups. Just get the glutes moving. Sometimes I pump my legs. I do some. So I know I think it's fun. Sometimes I'm dancing, right? I'm moving with the day. And the lights are on. The lights are on. The lights are on. Because like I'll talk about in a bit, getting light directly to the eyes, ideally sunlight, but even light in the room will help to keep you in that circadian rhythm so that you actually tomorrow will have an easier time waking up. There's an incredible Huberman Labs podcast that I highly recommend, all about light and how we can use light for optimal health and sunlight, sleep hygiene, all that. It's great. Very good stuff. So getting sunlight directly to the eyes, we'll get to. But even light in the room, very good too. So the lights are on. It helps you wake up. You wash the mouth, wash the face, all that stuff. Sick. Now might be time for oil massage. It depends on the protocol that you're in, the state of health that you're in, right? So this warm oil massage, which you can do using a double boiler. So you put the oil in a jar and then that in a bowl, pot of water over the fire, and you boil that. That's a double boiler, and you get that nice and warm, not scalding, but then you massage all over the place. So at this time, the sun will likely not be fully up yet, okay? This is ideal. So you're oil massaging, you're warm, and it's lovely. You're getting in all the crevices. You don't have to take so long. You can just get it on there in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and what you want is for it to soak in for as long as you can, even if that's like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, ideally 40 minutes, but whatever you can do is better than nothing, okay? So get that on. After it's on, for me, and what I tell my clients, right, then we get into perhaps the soul. What does the soul want? Or depending on the season, depending on what you need, maybe it's some physical movement safely, keyword. This might just look like push-ups, right? I'll have towels down, push-ups, some weights, right? Anything, some squats, some pumps, some dancing, whatever it looks like safely. Or it could look like listening to a podcast, an audiobook, right? Because you'll be very oily. Reading a book might be a little challenging, but if you do it, that's dope. So dig into either the body or the soul. When I say feeding the soul, this is the things that that light you up. Maybe your work doesn't totally satisfy the things that light you up. Maybe you can indulge in and connect to what that divine life looks like. Maybe it's just visualization, sitting in meditation, or visualization, chanting, singing. Amazing. maybe you do that. Then it's time for showering. Showering has to be warm, hot, but not so hot to where you get goosebumps. Then that's too much for the body, too much of extreme temperature changes, and this is not good for the body, right? What we want is to create some steam, some sweating. Perhaps this is going to open up the pores, and then the lubrication digs even deeper. This lubrication is going to lubricate the joints. This is extremely powerful for the tissues, even the organs. After a while, the more you do this oil massage, you create incredible circulation. The skin gets stronger, right? Again, the organ tissues underneath get stronger. You're creating easier access for cleansing through the hair follicles, right? So we do detoxify through the skin daily, and this helps for easier detoxification system through the skin, and actually out the bowels too, because you're increasing that circulation. So very powerful. You're gonna get that steam, you're gonna lubricate the body even more, and I mean, your skin's gonna look great. I'll tell you that much. When are you not going to do a Bianca? When are you not going to do this oil massage? You're not going to do it when you're sick, when you're dealing with a chronic pathology. Any of these tips, right? If you're dealing with something chronic, please go to a healthcare practitioner and have a customized plan. Please. So, you're also not going to do it if you have a fever. Okay? This is very big. But you'll be resting during those times instead. So now you showered, right? You do not want to expose yourself to extreme temperatures, please. You want to stay warm right after you get out of the shower. These extreme temperatures will create this vasoconstriction and stop the circulation that we're trying to flow up, create some flow up with. Okay. So stay warm. You might feel a little sweat on the upper lip. That is fine. That is good. And now you're ready to either dig into that soul connection that you haven't been able to. If you haven't been able to do that already, maybe that's like playing your instrument, reading a book, even if it's one page. Mind, body, soul, right? Connecting with those. Even if it's just one page, do the thing. Or maybe you go outside. If you do go outside and you just showered, you stay bundled up. Please stay bundled up if you just got out of the shower, if it's cold outside. So coming back to getting sunlight directly to the eyes within the hour of sunrise. So now the sun is rising, and you go outside, and the sun to the eyes, you do not need sunglasses because the sun isn't at its peak and you're not staring at the sun, but you're getting still the sun to the eyes. If it is like, not super overcast, you might only need 1 minute to gain the benefits that happen when the sun comes to the eyes, and I'll speak to the benefits soon. If it's overcast, maybe you stay out for about 10 minutes, go for a walk. Think about the tasks of your day, right? Maybe you just sit outside and journal, right? Think about planning out your day. Maybe this is time for gratitude practice. Maybe if you didn't oil massage or you haven't done a workout yet, then you go out, maybe you go for a run. You could try that. Again, look into my blog post and see some of the ideas that I mentioned about going outside and showering and whatnot. So, go outside. Why do we want sun directly to the eyes? Because this signals, again, to our circadian clock that we know when to release cortisol levels at the proper times of day. Cortisol levels are great and chill and fine to have. We want the stress hormone, right? We want to have it at the certain times of day. In the morning, in the evening, right? You get the surge of energy. This is very good. If you do this, if you get outside and get sun to the eyes within the hour of sunrise and waking up, it's going to be so much easier to wake up and go to bed. I promise you. Science says. And not just taken it from science, it has worked for me too. Okay, just like 3 days, really, okay, I'm going to do this thing, and dang, I love waking up in the mornings, I'll tell you that. So, now you've gotten sun to the eyes. If you have not already, you have freshly boiled hot water. Sometimes I have it right after I rinse my mouth out. Sometimes I'll have it after I shower. I'm like super thirsty. And this freshly boiled hot water is great year round, really in the mornings, even in the summers because it's not super hot yet. This will wake up your digestive system, your Agni as we call it in Ayurveda, which is all of the transformation, the metabolic transformation that happens within the body. So it strengthens that metabolic transformation, and it also has a gentle cleansing process in the morning, wakes up the digestive organs, which is very nice, and it's like comforting, which I enjoy. So having your freshly boiled hot water. This is what works so well in the mornings. Customize what you need to. When it comes to the evenings, what works. If you want to prevent burnout for the long haul, we cannot work morning, evening, every single day and think that that's going to be sustainable. Evenings are going to be really great for your social time, with family, with friends, with people that you love, maybe getting busy and taking a hot shower after, right? So this is the time to get creative, to have fun conversations, and to start to lessen that blue light activity, especially if you tend to have troubles going to sleep. This creates a lot of air, a lot of space, a lot of go on switch in the mind, or rajas, which is what we call it in Ayurveda, this turning on, rajas. And we're looking to turn off in the evening. So depending on what your meal routine has been, again, you can go deeper into what that looks like, could look like. If you're, dog's barking. Okay, so if you had a lunch that was around 11 to 12, you probably got hungry again around 4 to 6, which is all great. And then you start to wind down, right? We just want to have an empty stomach around 2 hours, like not have eaten around 2 hours before bed at least. You are going to start to gauge through this process of having a routine when you get hungry, and that's when you eat. And I speak to this now because in the evenings, right, we don't want to have a full heavy stomach before we go to bed, right? So gauge through this whole process. We talked about a self-assessment in the beginning. Gauge throughout this whole process of a daily routine, like when do I typically get hungry? This way, the more in tune you are with when you get hungry, then you can realize, okay, I noticed yesterday I get hungry around 11, 12. So I'm gonna make sure I know what I'm gonna eat around 10 so that I can make it, or I can know where I'm getting my food and satisfy that hunger when it comes. This is key to longevity and health and vitality, is eating when we're hungry and stopping when we're satisfied. This way we can secrete the digestive juices that need to be secreted, and then there's space for that food to churn in the body, in the stomach, and then move on through the digestive process. So notice when you get hungry throughout this routine, right? You did your early morning assessment. It'll make it easier throughout the day. And then in the evenings, once after you have your dinner, like around 6-ish, maybe earlier. Of course, this will vary depending on your geographic location. This is huge. Just a note, all of this will vary depending on your geographic location, right? And what the weather is like, really, and the culture. So you get to figure out what works for you. That's why we talk about customization in Ayurveda so much. But once you have figured out, okay, I get hungry around these times, and then I have dinner at this time, now I know that's when I might start to switch gears. Of course, it won't look the same every day, but maybe 80% of the time, you can have a routine like this, and you switch gears into something more nourishing, like with community in the evenings. And then you start to wind down. Maybe you get some natural light to the eyes. You take an evening walk while the sun is starting to go down. This is, again, very good for anchoring down that circadian rhythm, that biological clock in the brain, and all of your cells and nerves are like listening in. And then the sun's starting to go down, you come inside. It's best for the lights to come down too. So floor lamps, table lamps are best instead of overlight light, because then again, this is going to help with melatonin production and secretion. So if you can safely do candles, that's my jam. Is candles all over the place. It's safe, it's soothing, helps for creating a really nice soothing sleep. If you have trouble sleeping, maybe you give yourself a little foot massage, or have a loved one massage your feet with some sesame oil, warm it up in the hands. That's like chewing on a foot. You don't have to do that. Don't do that. Just massage it and put some oil or some socks on over that oil so that you can sleep. Beautiful. So we've taken it through the evening. What doesn't work? Let's talk about what does not work when it comes to daily routines. What doesn't work is creating a sense of stress and hold. There is something powerful to say about expectations. It's okay. I expect my routine to make me feel better. I expect to have a daily routine that's like this. But that's okay if you're taking the action steps. I get it. There's nothing wrong with having expectations because you are taking the action steps. However, the challenges come of balancing when we attach to those expectations and we can't let go, right? What happens in the environment, what happens with other people's choices, you cannot control. So you do what you can and you find a flow. So what's not going to work is a strain on and so much intensity around what the routine is going to look like and feel like. Do what you can, right? Creating stress for something that's supposed to ease stress usually doesn't work. The body isn't going to let go. The body isn't going to come into the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, if it's being held, if we can't breathe. So big belly breaths whenever you remember. Big belly breaths that can signal to bring us back to the sympathetic nervous system. Rest and digest whenever you can remember. Do what you can, right? What also does not work is choosing everything, 1,000 things to do, all right, when you're switching up a routine, right? I'm going to journal, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to oil massage, I'm going to work out, I'm going to do all the things, 1,000 things when I haven't been doing any of that before. That will right away be a recipe for disappointment, right? So that doesn't work. So choose one thing instead, one thing, and do that thing for a week, 2 weeks. Maybe you add another thing in naturally, right? I'm just going to choose having hot water, freshly boiled hot water in the morning. That's it. Or next time, after a week, I'm going to do freshly boiled hot water, and then I'm going to go outside and do some stretching or do some ankle and wrist rotations. Very good, because then you get your outside and you get some physical movement, right? Some stretching. Very good. That's it. So maybe I'm just going to journal. Maybe I'm just going to do my self-assessment in the morning and see how I feel, right? Maybe then I'm going to do a self-assessment and an assessment at night, right? After a week. Try that and celebrate every time you do your thing. Please. It's necessary. What also does not work is telling yourself that you could have done more or better. Celebrate what you do. What you do. Please, we must celebrate what we do. If you continue to do this, it keeps us in the energy of, oh, I do challenging things and I get through them. Oh, that was challenging and I still did it. Awesome. Amazing, right? Honor and celebrate yourself. How can we expect someone else to honor and celebrate us if we can't honor and celebrate ourselves? Huge. What also doesn't work is being not present. Doesn't work. Be with the practice that you choose, one or two things, right? if it's mindful eating, right? Saying gratitude or prayer, whatever you want to call it, before having the meal to bring you in that parasympathetic. Do some belly breathing, be with your food, chew until it starts to melt into the throat as you swallow, right? Being present with these practices. What isn't going to work is being scattered and trying to be at the next thing before you finish the first thing, okay? I hope this was helpful. If there's anything else that you want me to speak around when it comes to daily practices, if you have any questions, anything else you want to go deeper on, let me know. Share this with someone who might be interested in starting a routine if it's going to be helpful for them. This is time-tested medicine. Don't take it from me or from anyone else who says that this stuff works. Please just try it for yourself and then get back to me. See what you think. And there's so much more when it comes to a daily routine. So much more. So please check out the blog post. Ask your friends what works for them. Celebrate what works for you, right? Connect, share your tools. And this is very different from comparing, right? Comparison is the thief of all joy. However, if we share and we come from a place of creativity rather than competition, then we can actually heal ourselves and heal those around us, which is sick. So nice. Oh, that's amazing. So if you want to go deeper, you can check the blog post out. You can reach out to me, Vern's Balancing Page. That's me. What's up? I'm Veronica Page, and it's an honor to get to share this time and space and wisdom with you. Mwah! Till next time. See you later. Happy balancing.